Yes.
Okay, so fine. So I'll be talking about very briefly about the Indian economy, like how it is and what it is, and then I'll be talking about agriculture because I think so that agriculture is one of the most important sectors of the Indian economy, and during COVID also we saw that this sector has been the savior. So we are still an agrarian economy. So I
Okay,
think so. I'll,
great.
I'll be I'll be focusing on this today.
Okay, great.
Right. We still have 3 minutes to go. So a very good evening to all the students here.
In between, students will join. Actually, they must be coming from back from office or something like
Yeah.
that. We can start by 35.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah. I you can see me also a bit disheveled because I also just returned from my university and put on the system and said,
okay.
uh,
So nice of you. So kind of you that you are
no,
agreed
no, no. It's
on my
no.
days and
One is
my dates.
of course, it's just because of you that I'm doing this, and of course, the love of teaching, then the passion of teaching, especially if when it comes to Indian economies, anything to do with the Indian economy, and I'm always so excited. It's such an exciting economy. Yes.
I'm hoping for the day, Tanima, when we'll be able to teach our rural students online. I'm waiting for that.
I would love
Day.
that, and
And I'm trying for that also. I'm contacting in Badwan, these tribal districts.
uh-huh. I would
Let's
love
see.
that. That I would love, Dr. Gargal, if you could rope me in for
Yeah,
that because
I'm trying hard. Today I
uh,
talked to a Sansad of Badwani.
uh-huh. It's Arun Yadav.
We
No,
hope
no. Who is the MP right now of
he's
Balwani?
he's not actually he's Rajya Sabha Sansad from
Uh,
Badwani. He's from Badwani.
Jain.
Mr. Sumer Singh Solanki.
Acha Sumer Singh Solanki ji. Okay, all right.
You know him?
I've heard of him.
Even I was working with him just before 15 days in Badwani villages, Badwani small towns,
Uh-huh.
and I was not aware that he's going to become this much a big thing.
Okay, right.
So you can
Let's.
start, and I'm quiet now.
No, no. You can always. Your inputs are most welcome. You yourself are an economist, so your inputs are
And
most
we have planned something, Tanima. We have to do that.
yeah, sure, sure. I have that in mind. I remember all those
Okay.
things. uh,
Okay.
right.
I'm
So
muting myself.
okay,
You
fine.
can start.
Thank you. Uh, Fine. So students, of course, my PPT is there for you people. Like we'll be starting there. Uh, just very quickly, if I can get a few remarks from you people about the Indian economy, that what are your views? Like somebody yesterday was asking me about what topic will I be teaching, and like I means I pressed the end button and somebody had put on that message. So sorry, not telling you in advance that what I'm going to talk. Today I'll be talking about agriculture. Tomorrow,
Tanima,
yeah,
even I want to ask the learners that you go through your study material, and if you have any doubt, you can ask her.
of course, of course. More, you're more than I'll be more than happy to answer you people wherever
Yeah.
you people feel like that it's there. So I'll be
You can
talking.
note
I'll
down
be.
your queries. You have 3 more days today and 3 more days. So you can
Mhm.
write down your queries and ask her.
I'll be spending one full day on structural reforms. That is block three.
Okay. Okay.
And the first unit or the first block, I'm not touching much because that is something which people can do. Because while we'll be talking about the agricultural sector, the industrial sector, we'll be talking about, say, corporate social responsibility. We'll be talking about the political
Yeah.
environment, the cultural environment. So we'll be taking that. So I won't be talking specifically
Hmm.
about that. But in, of
Okay.
course, because Indian economy without talking about political economy is impossible.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's very important to discuss this Indian economy unit, because generally I saw during evaluation that learners just do fakeology, like they write anything for Indian economics, whatever they know from here or there, but it's very serious. I mean, you need to concentrate, and if you'll enjoy also.
I
reading
तो for
Indian economy?
me मुझे नहीं पता आप में से आप इसे that's the reason I wanted you people to just put in your remarks a bit about the Indian economy, or of course you can put on your mics and let me know, because
So,
मेरे लिए तो देखिए ये इतिहास है,
okay, now
भूगोल
I'll not
है।
say anything. Okay, I don't want to disturb you all.
नो 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 नो, क्योंकि ये मेरे लिए देखिए इकोनॉमी, जब हम इंडियन इकोनॉमी की बात करते हैं तो इट इज हिस्ट्री, इट्स पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमी, इट्स सोशियोलॉजी, it's everything, because and it's a so great like there are so many anecdotes to share, there are so many stories coming from the Indian economy which I find it very exciting। ठीक है, मेरे लिए बहुत exciting है, हो सकता है आप लोग को बड़ा बोरिंग लगे, and if you find it boring just raise your hands and let me know। So yeah, please, I'm looking forward to your comments. Please let me know about the Indian economy, whatever you know, whatever you think Indian economy is, please just tell me, Bidisha, if I may ask you, uh, I don't want to put you in a spot. If you don't want to answer, you can always say no. uh, mm, I suppose people are busy with the evening tea. mm, I think so. We are catching you at a time when you people might be commuting, might be इसमें पोल का कोई ऑप्शन नहीं होता है मेरे ख्याल से गूगल मीट में। पोल का कोई ऑप्शन है क्या? नहीं। ओके। like the interface that we are using in my university, we have got a polling option as well, so that helps us a lot to understand what you people do. So of course there are polls, of course there are polls here as well. So I'm starting a poll. Mm, Okay, so I think so it must be there on your screens now. The poll must be there. Please answer the polls. I suppose, can you people see the poll? Just yes or a no will do. Somebody? Uh, is the poll visible? Mm, okay. I don't know. Dr. Gargav, if I may. Okay, no. Okay, fine, fine. It's visible, visible. Somebody has answered no, so that means it's visible to everybody. Mm, all right, so that's 20 out of 21 students. One has answered. If I may have a few more answers, please. Okay, Dimpy, I suppose you have answered as well. And if you not, please kindly answer the poll. Uh, थोड़ा सा जल्दी जल्दी कर लें because it's already 6:40. Priyanka in the poll. Okay, great, great.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am, visible.
हाँ, बहुत धन्यवाद निधि जी. Right, so I'm getting 3 लोगों ने अभी तक जवाब दिया है, 4 हो गए, ओहो! चलिए, because this gives us a very real time answer. अच्छा, 2-4 और जवाब दे दीजिए, 5 लोगों ने जवाब दिया है, तो मेरे को एक थोड़ा-सा फेयर I'll get a fair idea about uh, this. Okay, till the time you people are answering your poll, let me just start with what Indian economy is. Basically, when we are talking about business environment, the paper that you are studying, business environment means the environment within which any business works. तो जिस वातावरण में आपका व्यवसाय काम कर रहा है, वो व्यवसायिक वातावरण कहलाता है. So when you are talking about business environment, it also refers to the political environment, the social environment, the cultural environment, the economic environment, the legal environment. So all these things within which your economy is functioning uh, makes your business environment. Uh, of course, there can be internal environment, there can be external environment. That means something which is internal, like you might be having a different sort of an environment externally, but the internal environment may be entirely different. They can be diametrically opposite to each other. So, or they can be very similar, like because the political, I firmly believe, you can always rebut me on that. I firmly believe that the political environment is a very crucial environment which determines the economic environment. uh, Many a times we have had that historically proven that the economic environment governs the political environment. So it depends on what sort of an economy you have and what you're in, at what stage of the economy as well. So if I can take you people like a few decades back, or like what, 70, 80 decades back, 7, 8 decades back, if I can take you, the First World War and the Second World War, very crucial uh, time points in the history of the economy of the world. और वहां से भारत के लिए बहुत कुछ है सीखने के लिए, इसीलिए मैं पहले विश्व युद्ध और दूसरे विश्व युद्ध की बात कर रही हूँ. We know that the First World War ended in 1919, and now there was a great depression of the 1930s. तो जो पूरा 20 का दशक है वो महामंदी का दशक माना जाता है, ग्रेट डिप्रेशन का था. And suddenly your entire economic thinking and your economic like what should we say, the entire thoughts and the theories that you had for economics, those were turned upside down, and you had a new model to be developed. Basically, आप में से किसी ने कीन्स का नाम सुना है? जॉन मेनार्ड कीन्स, J.M. कीन्स का नाम सुना है किसी ने? J.M. कीन्स का नाम सुना है? ये नाम कभी सुना है? मैंने चैट बॉक्स में डाला है. यस, इकोनॉमिस्ट. बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल सही लक्ष्य. कीन्स थ्योरी पढ़ी है आप लोगों ने. बेसिकली कीन्स जो हैं वो ही वाज अ ब्रिटिशर, ही वाज अ ब्रिटिश, एंड माइंड यू ही वर्कड इन इंडिया एज वेल. हाँ, भारत में भी काम करके गए थे. भारत में जो स्टैटिस्टिकल सर्विसेज थी उस वक्त, उसमें ही वाज अ सिविल सर्वेंट बेसिकली. तो वो यहाँ पे काम करके गए. एंड आप सबने मार्शल का नाम सुना हुआ है. फ्रॉम इफ यू आर फ्रॉम कॉमर्स बैकग्राउंड और इकोनॉमिक्स बैकग्राउंड, you have heard about Alfred Marshall. So he was one of the students of Alfred Marshall. Like both Pigou and Keynes were there at that time. तो कीन्स ने बहुत एक नई तरीके की अर्थव्यवस्था तैयार की. तो वो जो नई तरीके की अर्थव्यवस्था है उसमें उन्होंने कहा कि सरकार की भूमिका बहुत अहम है. So he said that the role of the state was very, very important, because before that it was more of a laissez-faire economy. They talked about an economy which was governed by the markets. तो जो आज हम देखते हैं, what we are seeing currently in India as well, that your markets are governing everything. Everything is in the hands of the market, and it's a demand and supply and everything which is ruling the policy making as well. So till that time, till Keynes came in, so you had that laissez-faire economy, or economy where there was no government intervention in terms of the economy. Keynes said कि if you want the economy to be taken forward, you need to have state intervention. तो सरकार का हस्तक्षेप होना बहुत जरूरी है. So now when you are talking about government intervention or the state intervention, he talked about the macroeconomic policy. He talked about the demand side, the aggregate demand and stuff. Now, where does India come in into all these things? Of course, we were a British colony at that time, and a lot of things started changing. You have people like M.N. Roy. There was Mahalanobis who was working. You had Rana Day. You had later on, like there has been a lot of politicians or leaders who were PhD in economics. They were there. लाइक राम मनोहर लोहिया जो है, राम मनोहर लोहिया ने जर्मनी से अपनी पीएचडी की थी इकोनॉमिक्स में. तो दादा भाई नावरोजी was there, the first person who calculated estimated national income for India, wrote a book as well. And from there, we started having we started formulating our own policy making and stuff. Now 1930 is the year in which Pandit Nehru visited USSR, जो United Soviet जो था, जो पहले पहले जो USSR था, बाद में बाल्कनाइजेशन के बाद रशिया हो गया. So when USSR, he went to USSR, and at that time they had started their 5-year plans. And Stalin was there. Lenin, I think, so 1930s, Lenin had passed away. Because Lenin had a very small time, it was Stalin who was there. And he was mighty impressed by the 5-year plan of Russia, because the capitalist system that you had was not delivering the results. Whereas the socialist or the communist system that USSR had adopted because of Marx, because of the influence of Karl Marx, they like the results that they were giving were fantastic. So they had double-digit growth rate at that time, and you had depression. On the other hand, like the world was reeling under depression, and you had this Russia, which was USSR, which was doing very well, and was growing very, very rapidly. So Nehru, like if you read Nehru as well, so he said that when we become independent, we should be having something of that similar sort. We should be having a planned economic model, and we should be somewhere following that. And of course 1947 we became independent, and we started like we came up with this we adopted the 5-year plan method that we had. Of course we went with we did not go for a command economy. मतलब हमने पूरा centralized नहीं किया. We kept the market economy, but we relegated the market economy to the back. So we said that the market economy would play a supporting role, and the state would be playing a very, very important role. Have you people heard about the Navratna companies? You people have heard about the Navratna companies. देखिए, Indian economy की class में if you people won't interact ना, then it'll be very difficult for me. Of course, I can tell you the story. I love telling the Indian economic story. Indian economy story. I love that. Mm, Navratna companies. You people have heard about it. नवरत्न कंपनीज के बारे में सुना हुआ है आप लोगों ने?
No.
No? Acha. Okay. You have heard about BHEL, SAIL, Steel Authority of
Yes,
India?
yes,
हाँ, ठीक
yes.
है.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So these are all the right. Yeah, BHEL was one of the Navratna companies. You had HMT, you had Steel Authority of India, you had GAIL. So that there were these 9 companies which were initiated by the then government, and of course Pandit Nehru was at the helm. It was not Mahanagar Telephone Nigam, Akhil. महानगर टेलीफोन निगम वाज इन द 90s. उस वक्त जो है वो डीओटी हुआ करता था, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ टेलीकम्युनिकेशंस. It was Department of Telecommunications was there, and that also came much later. डॉट काफी, क्योंकि उस वक्त नेटवर्क ही नहीं हुआ करता था हमारे पास. नेटवर्क इन द सेंस कि उतना जाल ही नहीं बिछाया था हमने. सो एमटीएनएल तो बहुत बाद में आया है. एमटीएनएल तो प्राइवेटाइजेशन के बाद आया है. Uh, these Navratna companies were initiated, and of course, we started from there. Now, where does agriculture come in? What we are talking today? So, like, okay, just a bit more about the planning process. We started off with a 1950. 1950 we had the planning commission, जो योजना आयोग है, उसका गठन 1950 में किया गया, and they were asked to formulate the plans. Now, what were plans? Basically, the 5-year plans were a blueprint about the economy. That's what is going to be done for the next 5 years, and what would be the priority of of the economy. Which areas would be developed, and what basically where the funding would go. Now, because we know that 1947, when we became independent, we had there are 2 3 major problems. One was the problem of the refugees, because a lot of migration had taken place, inter-country migration had taken place between India and Pakistan at that point of time. Second problem was food. There was food scarcity. 1940s, early 1940s, we had one of the worst famines, Bengal famine. And if you read Amartya Sen, he has written a lot about that. Amartya Sen has written a lot about that great famine that we had. और वहीं से वो एक क्या कहना चाहिए, एक टर्म आया भूखा बंगाली। ठीक है, वो भूखा बंगाली वहां से आया क्योंकि बंगाल में ये त्रासदी जो हुई थी वो बंगाल में हुई थी, and there was no food. So in 1947 we did not have enough food to feed our population. Third, we did not have foreign exchange. We did not have enough foreign exchange. So whatever money that we had, the foreign exchange that we had to use it very very prudently. So we like the imports had to be made in a very calculated manner, that we did not waste our foreign exchange, whatever little that we had. So that planning procedure started, and of course in the first 5-year plan the focus was on agriculture. Second 5-year plan, the focus was on industry. And how many 5-year plans did we have? कितनी पंचवर्षीय योजनाएं हुई हैं हमारी? How many 5-year plans did we have so far? अभी तक कितनी yeah, Lakshya, go ahead.
12 5-year plans, ma'am. And after
Great.
that, Planning Commission
And
was changed to
Mhm.
Niti Aayog.
Great. Yeah, 2014, Niti Aayog came in. From 1950 till 2014, we had Planning Commission, and then 2014 onwards, we have had Niti Aayog. Now 12 5-year plans, as he said. अच्छा, इसमें बीच में gaps हैं. There are gaps. Like if you look at after the third 5-year plan ended in 1966. So then we had 3 rolling plans or 3 annual plans. We had 66 to 69. Then जो fifth 5-year plan है, उसके 2 draft आए थे, because first draft was given by the Congress government led by Mrs. Indira Gandhi, and then we had the first non-Congress government, Morarji Desai, an ex-congressman who came in, and they came up with another fifth 5-year plan. Unfortunately, fortunately, they could not run the government. So 1979, they were booted out of power, like 1980. And again, Mrs. Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India. She came back with a thumping majority. And fifth 5-year plan को वहीं रद्द कर दिया गया, and the sixth 5-year plan was started. Then, of course, again in between we had a few breaks in between the 8th plan and the 9th plan. We again had sorry, between the 7th plan and the 8th plan, we again had a few breaks. If you remember those in those times, we had a lot of prime ministers, Chandrasekhar, H.D. Devagowda, or VP Singh, all coming and going. They couldn't, like, after the death of Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, they were not there, and the economy was not stable, because the leaders kept changing. So there was no stability, and for the first time, it was in 1989 that Chandrasekhar, during the reign of Chandrasekhar, the gold was pledged to the IMF. So that was the first time that हमने सोना बेचा अपना IMF को. हाँ, तो ये first 5-year plan, it was agriculture, and that is from where we start our agricultural thing, and that is from where my today's presentation start off very very specifically, if I want to talk about. So of course we'll be talking about agricultural policy, the land reforms, pricing policy. Now of course we had a semi-feudal relationship was there, and we needed a lot of technical improvements in agriculture that was required. Now, what like what the Britishers did, what the colonizers did was that they went with the technological approach. And they said that because obviously they were not interested in taking the economy forward, or they were not interested in taking the agriculture forward. They were just trying to loot as much as they could from us. So that is where they went. And it was the Communist Party was formed at that time in India. You had M.N. Roy uh, forming the Forward Bloc, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, again a communist. Like he after he left Indian National Congress, he became that. And uh, all those things. So they started talking about uh, the rights of the farmers, about the tillers, not the farmers, basically the tillers, the tenants, जो जो खेतीहर मजदूर थे, जो खेतों पे काम कर रहे थे, जो जुताई का काम करते थे. So they started talking about the rights of those people. And there was an armed revolt in the Telangana region. Like today, it's Telangana state. At that time, it was a Telangana region there in Andhra Pradesh, now Andhra Pradesh. So we have the phases and the policies 1950 to 65, and of course 1970 to 1983. Uh, now there were when we became independent, and we did not have that much amount of food with us. Uh, the land there was this disproportionate distribution of land. When I say disproportionate distribution of land, it means that you had those big zamindars who had hundreds and thousands of acres of land, and then you had a very big population who were dependent on agriculture for the livelihood, but they did not own the land. Or even if they were owning the land, they were very small or marginal farmers. Like now we use the word marginal farmers for them, small and marginal farmers. So they were all those small and marginal farmers that we had. So this entire land stealing was done, and this again started from the south. So in south, it was asked, like it was requested of the rajas and the talukdars. They were requested that you have got a lot of surplus land, and there was a movement. Does anybody remember the name of that movement where people were asked to give their land? Does anybody remember that? We had a movement in India where people gave away their land. Anybody remembers that? Yes, Lakshya. Lakshya, you have read a lot of economics, I suppose. What do you do, Lakshya? It's so good to see these answers. Bhudan movement. Uh, Bhudan movement. चला था. Lakshya, what do you do? Mm,
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, I am employed
mm.
in central government PSU in ONGC, and I'm working
Okay,
there as
all
an
right. So,
assistant executive engineer.
okay, great. And you have got a lot of interest in economics? Uh,
I think I have not only economics, I have prepared for civil services examinations. So
अच्छा हाँ ठीक है फिर तो बिल्कुल ठीक है ना that suffice that suffices of course so we had that and भूदान movement किसने चलाया था लक्ष्य ये भी बता दो
presently, I am not remembering that.
okay okay
मैम
okay तो
विनोबा
विनोबा
भावे.
भावे बिल्कुल
Vinoba
अखिल
Bhave.
बिल्कुल एग्जैक्टली विनोबा भावे हाँ जी बिल्कुल विनोबा भावे जो कि गांधी जी के अनुयायी थे बिग सपोर्टर ऑफ महात्मा गांधी एंड कुमारप्पा के साथ साथ you had KC Kumarappa and you had Vinoba Bhave and then later on you had JK Mehta, another very stalwart economist from India, somebody who should have got a Nobel for economics, but unfortunately he never got that. A fantastic writer. Like, of course, later on his writings became more on the Gandhian lines, but fantastic. Like, I don't know how many of you have read J.K. Mehta, but you should be reading J.K. Mehta. Fantastic writings that he has got. He has written a lot about ट्रस्टिज्म के ऊपर बहुत उन्होंने लिखा जो कि गांधी जी का भी एक टेनेट था तो yeah so we had this Bhudan movement that was there and the Bhudan movement was basically where people like Vinoba Bhave, he went and he asked people to give away their lands, the surplus that they had, and that is where the land ceiling came up. Of course, there were a lot of loopholes in the system. So a lot of people like वो जो बेनामी जो हम आज word बहुत use करते हैं, बेनामी property जो है, yeah, it started there where the landlords, what they did was that they transferred the land into the name of one of the peasant who was working for them, and the peasants never knew that he was owning the land, and that is how they just shifted, like on paper the holding was shifted, the ownership was shifted, and so out of total 400 million acres, only 2.3 million acres was declared as surplus. So you can figure out that how the bourgeois class, or the uh, that upper class that you have, they dominated the policy making as well, and only 2.3 million acres was declared as surplus. So 1.5 million acres was like redistributed. So that was just 0.3156%. So um, like 1970 to 83, if we are talking, so we had this Naxalbari movement that was there, which was basically, initially it was a peasants movement that was started. There's a place in upper North Bengal, like in not upper North Bengal, in North Bengal, or the upper Bengal. You have a place. It's a very sleepy small town near, not even a town. It's a what? ओके, यू कैन कॉल इट अ टाउन, मतलब हिंदी में जिसको हम कस्बा बोलते हैं, वो है शिलीगुड़ी के पास. It's Naxalbari, from where the movement initially started. Of course, in India now you have this entire red zone, the Naxalite zone, which is from Telangana till Jharkhand, which is known as the Red Corridor. So you've got Telangana, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, the lower parts of Maharashtra, which touches your Andhra Pradesh. So that entire zone is the red zone, which is for these Naxalite, and of course now the Naxalites have got a very different agenda than what with which they started there, and right. So we had it in Srikakulam, again in Tamil Nadu, where again started, and uh, so Kanu Sanyal was the person who uh, started this entire Naxalbari movement. So this was 1967, basically, when this entire thing started, and CP, the Marxist-Leninist Communist Party that you have, they supported this movement, and the Land Reforms Commission was set up in 1970, and the Planning Commission was directed to formulate policies, and all those things happened. And so 1969, a very, very important year in the history of Indian economy. That is when Mrs. Gandhi came up with a master stroke to defeat her political opponents, which had very important economic connotations. And that was the nationalization of banks that took place in 1969. That the 14 banks were nationalized. Nationalization का मतलब क्या होता है? Nationalization का मतलब होता है कि हमारे यहाँ पे बैंकिंग सिस्टम था, ब्रिटिशर्स ने हमारे यहाँ पे भी बैंकिंग सिस्टम स्टार्ट कर दिया था. 1934 RBI formulated, 1935 Act था, Banking Regulation Act 1949 आया, you had the Negotiable Instruments Act 1881. So banks थे हमारे पास, ऐसा नहीं कि banks नहीं थे. But the problem with banking in India was that banking was again something for the elites, something for the upper classes, and it was meant for the business community. And what was happening was a lot of interbanking financial transactions were happening, because the owners of companies were board members in banks, and they were taking advantage of this entire system. Now, IG Patel, then governor of RBI, and IG Patel has worked with Pandit Nehru. He has worked, like he was very young when he started off, and he has worked with Mahalanobis as well, PC Mahalanobis, Prashant Chandra Mahalanobis. His work, IG Patel has worked with him as well. Now, they were asked to formulate something which would be a tight slap on the opponents of Mrs. Gandhi, and would bolster the economy as well. And they came up with this nationalization. So where the private banks were published, they were brought under the state control. So that is nationalization. So अभी उल्टा हो रहा है, अब privatization हो रहा है, यानी कि the banks which were in the hands of the government have now been given to the private sector. At that time, the reverse was happening. So from the private sector, the banks were brought to the government sector. So that was nationalization of banks. So 1969 nationalization of banks took place, and this is very very important. This that you have the abolition of the privy purses. So the abolition of privy purses means the princes or the princely states that you have, which were merged with India, like something for which we have to be thankful to Vallabhbhai Patel, to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and he brought in all those small kingdoms and fiefdoms with India, and because they became a part of India, they were given a certain. They were being given certain amounts from the state. 1969, that was abolished. The privy purses was abolished, and that was basically to show to the middle class of India that look, the government is not helping the upper classes, and it's not helping the princely states. That was a major step which had very long term consequences. If you look at it, it had that time. Uh, so the recommendations was the ceilings to be held by a family of 5 members. So that was one. Then ceiling limit was between 10 to 54 acres, of course depending on the fertility and the irrigation facilities. And then all major children would be treated as separate. Now this is something which was taken advantage of. So if somebody had 5 kids or 5 children who were all adults, above like who were all above the age of 18 years, then they were being treated as separate entities, and this was something which gave advantage again to the bourgeois class. Again, that upper class, like, so if you uh, as I said, that if you had 5 children who were above the age of 18 years, so each 5 would be getting a piece of the land, and so it was the land ceiling would be applicable uh, on each child. So that meant that they could take advantage of it, and that is what they did basically as well. And all the unreasonable exemptions were given to be done away with, which did not happen actually. And the compensation to the multiples of land revenue. Of course, the state governments, they did not follow the timelines. 75 to 79, there were changes in central government. Of course, we know that 1975 to 77. What happened between 1975 and 1977? What happened between 1975 to 77, which had major political and economic repercussions? 75 से लेकर 77 तक क्या हुआ? What happened between 1975 to 1977? You can answer with a cup of tea. You people can enjoy. Yes, Dimpy, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Emergency, one of the blots in the Indian history, and for which the Congress paid a big price for this as well. So 1975 to 1977, again, one more thing that is to be remembered is 1973, we had the first oil crisis, and 1979, we had the second oil crisis. And both these events had major implications on the economy. They had major implications uh, on the Indian economy, right? And agriculture played a, so this is the Bhudal movement, Vinoba Bhave, and so what were the problems? These were the problems, and things happened, and of course, time frame was there, and there were procedural problems as well. Land sealing tribunals were there, which were being manipulated. Of course, the manipulation was happening because again, the owner group was the upper class. So they took advantage of this. The bureaucracy was not putting it. Uh, the land reforms, like mm, it was uh, the land reforms became more of a political event rather than being an economic event, and that like that had a major issue because like even today, if you look at it. One of the major promises, like if you look at the manifestos of the parties, if you have a look at the manifestos, one thing which is very common is to waive off farmers loans. Okay, so now tell me that how many of you believe that farmers loans should be waived off? किसानों के ऋण माफ किए जाने चाहिए, ऐसा कितने लोगों को लगता है? How many of you think that the farmers' loans should be waived off? Hmm. Yes. How many of you think that farmers' loans should be waived off? Yes, no. जवाब दीजिए वरना मजा नहीं आएगा. Kamlesh Rawat says should not be. Okay. Thank you for the answer, Dr. Rawat. What about others? What about others? Should not, say Sanjeev Pathak. Okay. Okay, chalo. On the basis of the two answers that I have received, the consensus is that, or the majority is that it should not be like waived off. Uh, what is my opinion? My opinion is that it has to be case based. You cannot give a yes. That is what I was coming to, Lakshya. That it has to be case based. It cannot be given to the whole community in totality. The reason is that even today we have got, like, the policy making is in the hands or is in favor of the big farmers, and if you're looking at the numbers is very high for the marginal farmers, these farmers which have got less than 2 acres of land. Now if I talk about those farmers, these farmers need a lot of help from the state because our system is not robust enough to support them, and especially in the years where the crops go wrong, say you've got too scanty rainfall, you've got floods, you have change in the seasons, volatility in the rainfalls. There is locust attack. There can be these you may have hailstorms. So if all these natural calamities that are there, so then of course the state has to look after its farmers, so that there you have to give them that the benefit of doubt, and you have to waive off the loans. But if you are doing it just for like in India, what happens is that it's more of a political mm, should I use the word gimmick? I don't know. It seems to be more of a political statement than an economic statement, because, of course, the burden then goes to the public sector banks, and then the public sector banks have a lot of NPAs, and then you say that the public sector banks are not performing. So, yeah. So that is what my opinion is. So I think so. It has to be piecemeal rather than uh, uh, giving a blanket wave off. That I think so that should not be the case. Uh, and where is my PPT? Uh, okay, here is my PPT. All right. So if I now talk about the impact of land reform, so the insecurity went off, absentee landlords were reduced. I was talking about those benami zameen, so that is absentee landlords. Then land deconstruction in different forms happened in the rural areas. So all these things happened, and then we have the agricultural price policy. Now, in between, I would like to talk, though I have not included in my, I don't know why I did not include it in my PPTs. Uh, let me speak to you a bit about the green revolution. It's again a very interesting story. I don't know, हो सकता है आप लोगों ने सुनी हो, एक बार मेरी जुबानी सुनिएगा. All of us have heard about, I should be using green. All of us have heard about green revolution. Now, green revolution is something that India started off in 19. We had that in 1964. 1964 we started off, and we started it off as a pilot project in 15 districts, and from there 1966 onwards it was then like implemented in the all over India. Mm, am I audible? Yes, I am, and I'm visible as well.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Okay, so the electricity went off. Of course, you can see that from my background, and I'm just closing my camera because I'm on mobile support. I don't know how long it will be supporting me in terms of the net connectivity. So, right. So, I was talking to you about the green revolution, uh, and I wanted to ask something. What was it? Uh, okay. Was green revolution uh, project only from India, or did we borrow it from some other country? Like, was it a homegrown or a homemade project, or did we borrow it from someone? हमने कहीं से उधार लिया था, या हमारा ही है ये? Mm.
मैम आई
You people
थिंक
can
उधार
answer.
लिया हो.
उधार लिया था। ये
Right.
तुम तुक्का मार रहे हो
No, I
कि
guess from
तुमको पता है?
Mexico.
अच्छा, वेरी गुड। मेरा प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं दिख रहा है। ओके, जस्ट लेट मी, सॉरी, लेट मी जस्ट शेयर माय स्क्रीन अगेन। हाँ, वो नेट चला गया था तो हो सकता है बिकॉज ऑफ दैट। मेक्सिको, ओके गुड। ठीक है। हम्म, हाँ, वैसे मेक्सिको को से ही आया था, मतलब जब तक मेरा पीपीटी स्टार्ट हो रहा है। बिल्कुल मेक्सिको से ही हमने बेसिकली मेक्सिको में भी ये जो है ना, मेक्सिको में था ये अमेरिका का। ये द प्रोजेक्ट वाज फ्रॉम अमेरिका। there's a scientist called Norman Borlaug. He is the person who started, like he did a lot of research in seed variety, and especially after the World War, it was like there was a lot of stress on having these high yielding variety of seeds, which would lead to higher production and would basically mm, help the countries to become self-sufficient in terms of food. So it was a project. Now, this project, this Green Revolution, was funded by the Ford Foundation. So the Ford Foundation that you have, they the Rothschilds and the Fords, they funded it. Basically, the Ford Foundation did it in Mexico, as he very rightly pointed out. That in Mexico they had the wheat revolution. So इसमें एक I'm forgetting, मेरे ख्याल से हाँ, CH हनुमंत राव हैं, अगेन अ ग्रेट एग्रीकल्चरल साइंटिस्ट फ्रॉम इंडिया, एग्रीकल्चरल इकोनॉमिस्ट, एग्रीकल्चरल साइंटिस्ट। इन्होंने, इनकी एक अपनी सोसाइटी थी, इंडियन एग्रीकल्चरल सोसाइटी, मतलब अभी भी है, ऑफ कोर्स इट्स स्टिल देयर, इट्स स्टिल वर्किंग। And in one of the presidential speeches that Hanumanta Rao ji made, there he has spoken about that America had to do a rethink regarding how many countries can it feed, because a very substantial amount of wheat from America was being sent to India, and the quality of wheat that was being sent to India was one of the most substandard qualities, because obviously they also did not, they had to feed their own country as well. So in Mexico, the first experiment was done regarding the wheats, where you have these HYVs, the high yielding variety of seeds. So there, with the help of uh, ah, so there, with the help of like in Mexico, they had the wheat revolution, which was again funded by the Ford Foundation, and they had these HYVs, high yielding variety of seeds, which needed a lot of water, almost 4 times than the normal things, but the productivity went up like in a major way. Then in Philippines, uh, if I write the spelling of Philippines wrong, please let me know. Huh? Is it right? Is it wrong? My spelling is right or is it wrong? Just open your mic and let me know whether I've written the right spelling or the wrong spelling. Come on, students. You people may be working in very big organizations, but I'm still your teacher, and I can pull you people down. Pull your people up. Philippines, is the spelling right? Ha! You people are asking me to check it on the net. Uh, Philippines.
Ma'am, it should add double P.
Double P. Double P. Yeah.
Right.
Right. So of Philippines. So Philippines they had this rice revolution. They had an institute of rice, and there they had the rice revolution. So in 60s, in 1960s, early 1960s, this Ford Foundation and America, USA, like they asked India that, do you want to use these HYVs, the high yielding variety of seeds? Do you want them? And do you want to do it? And India, of course, you had Norman. Again, let me, my spellings are atrocious, so, and I'm very sorry for that. But yeah, so you had Norman Borlaug. Uh, he, along with him, MS Swaminathan, uh, whom we call the father of Green Revolution in India, they worked and they started working in India. And that is how it started in these 15 districts. We started off, and then we came up with all India. In the all India we had, and we did it in wheat, we did it in paddy. These were the first two crops in which we started these HYVs. Rich, the states which were water rich, their green revolution was successful. So you have Punjab, Haryana, you have got West, got UP, you've got Maharashtra, you've got AP. States did very, very well in terms of the green revolution, because they had a lot of
Hello. Uh, I think there is some technical issue in Tanima's connection. She is trying. So please wait. Am I audible?
Okay, madam.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Wait for a while. She is trying to rejoin. Wait for half a minute. I'll talk to her and let you know that she is able to join or not. Hi, I contacted Tanima and she is not able to connect due to some internet failure. She was trying through other ways also, but she is not able to do that. So she will cover this whatever is left for today's class. I was not there. She'll cover it tomorrow. So we can conclude today's session. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, and we are having a redressal, grievance redressal camp type also tomorrow. You can join if you want.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Timing, ma'am.
नहीं उठाइए फोन उठाए